Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Please rise to welcome our chief guest, escorted by our principal.
Good morning, everybody. Please be seated.
Welcome to the first investiture ceremony. The investiture is a formal affirmation and public recognition of the leadership qualities of the designates. They are young and the road before them is long. But this leg of their leadership journey begins today. They will be tasked with various responsibilities even while receiving the firm support of the school and its staff and students in the carrying out of those responsibilities. Hereafter, may all of us work wisely and unitedly to make them successful so that in the years to come, as they take their place in the sun outside the portals of our school, the world will look up to them as beacons of light that will shine for their own fulfillment and that of others. I would like to welcome very specially our chief guest, Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya, our principal, Mr. Carol Joseph, and the members of the staff. Light in its literalness and its figurative understanding banishes the shadows and the darkness from our lives and presents us with enlightenment for the way forward and upward. We will now have the lighting of the lamp. I request the chief guest, Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya, our principal, Mr. Carol Joseph, our middle school and IGCSE coordinator, Ms. Deirdre Gokhale, the primary coordinator, Mr. Parnav Das, and our events coordinator, Ms. Hetal Gangani, to light the lamp. We will now have the staff singing the song, This Little Light of Mine.
Let it shine.
Thank you, staff. Our chief guest for today is Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya, who was educated at various schools abroad before taking his senior Cambridge at the Scindia School in Gwalior. He proceeded then to pursue his undergraduate education at St. Stephen's College, Delhi, and took his master's degree from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He earned his doctorate in Human Resource Development from Cheshire University, United Kingdom. After a very satisfying stint in Gwalior, he left to head an integrated rural development project near Bangalore, where he stayed for 15 years. In 1995, he was appointed Principal Designate of the ITC Residential School and remained till 2000 the Principal Academic Resource to the ITC Education Trust. He was also the coordinator of WWF India's activities in the 4 southern states. From 1996, Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya advised the government of Andhra Pradesh on international education and established an international school in Hyderabad. He was also briefly the advisor to the chairman, Bennett Coleman and Company Limited, after which he returned to Hyderabad. He was inducted as the Director and Chief Knowledge Officer of the CareerCommunity.com Limited, where he looked after the content creation for the ManageMentor.com, a vertical that catered to working professionals worldwide. A prolific writer with 1,840 publications to his credit, he was also the chief editor of the Hindu Opportunities, a supplement that accompanied the Hindu every Wednesday. Simultaneously, he served as the editor of the Appointment Times and the Computer Times, supplements of the Khalij Times, Dubai, UAE. He is also the educational advisor to His Highness Sheikh Faisal bin Khalid Muhammad Al Qasimi, Crown Prince of Sharjah, for whom he has set up the Royal University College in Sharjah. Dr. Acharya is the UGC Professor of Eminence at Hamdard University, where his presence on the Standing Committee of the Academic Council and as a member of the Internal Quality Assurance Committee has for the second time in 10 years garnered the coveted quinquennial A grade from the National Accreditation and Assessment Council of India. I would like to invite our chief guest, Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya, to share his thoughts with us on this very special occasion.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to sound a lot like the Indigo announcement. They always say the same thing. The stuff that you heard just now is all the official stuff. The unofficial stuff is, my name is not, as she mentioned, Abhimanyu Acharya. It is Abhimanyu Acharya for short. For long, it is Siddhartha Abhimanyu Ramanuja Venkateshwara Srinivasa Binding Knowledge Tirumala Acharya Keshwanga Acharya. Quite a mouthful. Quite a mouthful. I think it took me about 7 or 8 years to learn it myself. A very amusing thing happened why I was given such a long name. Everybody asked me, why do you have such a long name? I said, I didn't give it to myself. People don't do that generally. So I said to, I discovered what happened. Apparently, when I was being expected by my long-suffering mother, she was going through the Mahabharata. And she just come to that spot. She was reading it in Sanskrit, so she was going really slow. And she just came to that part where they described Abhimanyu, Saubhastra Mahabahu and stuff like that. And she was very impressed by all his great stuff. And considering that he was around 16 and all that sort of thing, really impressed by it. And she was traveling the back of a car, and there was a driver in front, and she was extremely expectant of me at that time. And what happened was, she suddenly exclaimed, I dare say my parents were kind of debating what kind of name to give this Stepney child. I was the last child. So, and the second son, I turned out to be the second son. And how she knew I was going to be a son, This was much before the days of ultrasound. So anyway, they guessed. And they said, okay, what name? And then she came across this description of Abhimanyu and she said, Abhimanyu! And the poor driver who was minding his own business and looking at the road whipped around because he thought she was in the throes of delivering me on the spot. And what happened was he kind of swerved around and so did his hands, which was on the wheel, and the wheels also swerved around and there was an oil slick in front. So the car went round several times, turned upside down, threw my mother out of one door, the driver out of the other door, my mother landed on her feet, the driver landed on his feet, and I wasn't born. My father, however, was a little upset about this. This was all in what was then called Ceylon, but now is called Sri Lanka. This was all coming down Galle Face. And my father was very, very upset at this happening because he just bought the car. And who needs a stepney when you have a new car? I mean, like, seriously. So anyway, I was without much more ado sent off inside my mother to Bangalore. And that's where I was born. And when I was born over there, my mother said, Abhimanyu, that's the name. Now, unfortunately for her, both her in-laws were there, and her mother and her father. And they said, oh gosh, you can't name a child Abhimanyu. I mean, it's not a good thing to name a child Abhimanyu. And they said, she said, why? I mean, it's a great, since he died when he was 16. So she said, so I got another son. So you can imagine my sort of arrival on this world was not exactly enthusiastically received. However, they said, no, you can't. She says, I'm going to call him Abhimanyu, whatever you say. So they said, okay, they must do something about this. So they went back and consulted all sorts of people, and they finally decided that, okay, what we should do is to load him with a whole lot of other names so it will counteract the bad effect of Abhimanyu. And as you can see, I've passed the age of 16, so obviously superstition works. Well, that's a little bit about me and why I have such a long name. But coming back to the point today, prefecture, the prefectorial system. I remember when I was in school, yes, I know it's a very long time ago, but yes, I was in school, trust me, at some point. And when I was in school, I somehow struggled, to the surprise of my teachers, to come to the senior most class. And when I was in the senior most class, I was, let me put it like this, I was a very good debater. I used to argue all the time, hence debater. And I used to do a little bit of acting and stuff like that, so I was pretty good at that too. And I was not pretty much good at anything else. Cricket was something that I knew made a noise in the garden. And football was, I don't know, it was some kind of game, I suppose. So yeah, I was not terribly good at that. And when the prefects were being announced, and I'm addressing this to the young people who are going to become prefects today, it came as no surprise that my name didn't feature anywhere. And they start off everything from the house prefects and so on and so forth. And my school is one of the older established schools and is perhaps the #1 school today in the country, residential school in the country today. But, however, all the prefects were announced, every single prefect was announced and stuff like that, and my name didn't feature, so I wasn't really paying attention, and I was kind of looking at somebody else who was just being made a prefect, and people next to him slapping him on the back and saying, well done, and all that sort of thing. And then suddenly, there was a bit of a commotion, and then the people on either side of me kind of ducked their elbows. And if you know what a 16-year-old elbow feels like, it's not comfortable. And this 16-year-old elbow got me between the 4th and 5th ribs, not pleasant place to get you. And I said, what? Stop it. And I must also remind you that at that time, I was not this magnificent height of mine. I was 5'3", which is kind of runt size. And I was also, I think, about 32 kilos. So strong winds, people had to hold me down, that kind of thing. And they said, it's you. I said, what is me? So they said, called your name. I said, what have I done? Immediately reviewed my whole year over there, and I said, oh, I've not done anything so terribly bad. Well, maybe. I didn't think they found out about it. Anyway, the fact was that apparently I was a very good boy. Not particularly good in studies, not particularly good in games, but, you know, decent, well-behaved, at least what they could see, well-behaved. And they said, it's you. So I said, what's me? So they said, go in front. So I said, go in front. Why? So they said, you're the head boy. So I said, what? I think the school has finally gone to the last rung possible. They can't possibly do this, and I was, you know, sort of unwilling to move. So anyway, several elbows and arms pushed me forward into the aisle, the nave, and I walked down the nave, and I'm still not terribly sure what it was that I was. I said, okay, only the school prefects stood in front. The house prefects didn't get that privilege. I went in front, and then I heard the principal talking, and he was telling us about the responsibility of the head boy. And that is what I wanted to share with all of you. Although not all of you, particularly girls, are going to be head boys, it's quite likely that some boys will not. The fact is that apparently you are going to be the flag bearers of your school. You are going to be more importantly than being the flag bearers of your school, you are going to be the flag bearers of your peers and your juniors. You are going to be the people, you are going to be the leaders of younger children who will be looking up to you. You have to set an example. And setting that example means you have to, if you are already honest, you have to be more honest. If you are, let us say, good in whatever it is you're doing, you have to be better at whatever you do. It is a responsibility that you carry to represent your school, represent the student body, be the arm of the authorities and the management of the school. You know the vision, you know the mission of the school, and you have to take it forward. Not only have you to take it forward, you have to explain it to the people who are looking up to you, your fellow students who are your juniors, who will aspire to the positions that you are going to today acquire. You are going to, and you will, represent your institution, your houses, and your families, because for some strange reason, I can't ever figure out why, I'm not terribly sure if my parents were, but they are going to be very proud of you. You have to earn that pride. You have already gone through a rigorous selection process, which has brought you to a situation where you will be given the responsibility of helping the administration of the school. Do not think that you are the least important. You aren't. The Student Council, I'm sure which you will be having, is very, very essential to get the entire student body working. In order to infuse the student body, you will be responsible. You who are going to hold office will be responsible. The council is responsible for a lot of decisions that are made by the management. Do not think that it's just something that comes on paper. It isn't. It's a responsibility to which you have to live up. I tried my best, and I didn't think I totally disappointed everybody. I was fortunate, and it was probably the only reason why I was admitted into the college I was admitted into. It's almost impossible to get into St. Stephen's College, and apparently today, to get into St. Stephen's College in Delhi, you require, let me see, what was it? Yes, 100%. So, unless you have 100%, I might like to tell you that I did not get 100%, did not get 90%, did not get 80%, did not even get 70%. I got 57.6%. The only reason I got in, was because I was head boy of my school. So please understand, the jobs that you're getting will make a difference when you leave school. It's not just in the school. It will make a difference because when they know that you're from the Gera school, they say, okay, a candidate that we like. And if you're like me, a total dope as far as education goes, academics goes, in that case, the positions that you are in will make a difference, not only in the school, but once you're out of the school as well. Of course, your teachers might heave a huge sigh of relief when you leave. But when you do leave, it will make a difference. And you have to live up to that difference. You have to necessarily stand taller. You can try elevator shoes, it will help, but I mean, it's much better for your personality to have greater stature. You do that. And I spent my whole life trying to undo the 57.6%. I joined St. Stephen's and I took part in national debates, did reasonably well there. I took part in drama, did very well there. And education, when I graduated finally from St. Stephen's College, the principal used to call all the students who were graduating to advise them to do their master's degree and all that sort of thing. They asked me, Abhimanyu, it's been wonderful having you here, but what have you done in the last 3 years? And I said, sir, I promised when I joined the school that we will get the national debating trophy all the time, behind your head. He said, yes, but I mean, academically, what have you done? I said, sir, I joined the best college in the country. St. Stephen's College is the best college in the country. I've joined the best college in the country, and I came in here with 57.6%. And sir, you're sending me out to this college with 41.5%. It's not my fault. I had this confidence only because I was a prefect in my school. I knew that somewhere, someone thought I was good enough to be a prefect. Of course, the principal of the college said that one promise I want from you, Abhimanyu. I said, yes sir, anything. You love this college? I said, yes sir, I love the college, wonderful college. I said, then as a favor to the college, don't apply for your master's degree here. And that's why I had to go to JNU to do that. So. But before getting to JNU, I had to go to Prague. I was in Prague, and there they were amazed that here I was a young man of 19. I think I was a little under 19. I hadn't yet come to 19. And I was already a graduate. They didn't look at the 41.5%. They said, this is a genius, because at 19, he's a graduate. There they become graduates at about 21, 22. So at 19, I was a child prodigy as far as they were concerned. They say, take any course. So I said, yeah, well, this course sounds interesting, so I did the course. And you'll all be happy to know, young friends of mine, you'll be very happy to know that I taught the university. The subject that I took was the esoteric iconography of Romanesque rotundas and Bohemia. I taught the university. I got a nice, beautiful metal parchment written in Latin and in Czech below. And this is where you have to choose wisely when you grow up. I chose that subject. And I came first in the university, only because I was the only student in the class. So, there you go. You have to make wise choices, and being a prefect helps you to make wise choices. Remember, that responsibility, you have to be true to your school. You have to be true to your juniors. You have to be true to your teachers and parents. And above all, you have to be true to yourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for so eloquently explaining to our students the importance of being the flag bearers of our school. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. William Gans, PTA chairperson of the Gera School, along with his wife. We are honored to have you both in our midst today. Gadre from grade 7 will now sing a rendition of the song A Million Dreams.
Hello? I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all times. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me. We can live in a world that we desire. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams, that's all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every moment is filled with things from far away. Special things I compiled, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me. Run away to a world that we desire. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world can be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams, that's all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me. A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams, that's all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. That was truly melodious. We request our principal, Mr. Carol Joseph, to address us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, staff, for that
and songs. Thank you for being here, Dr. Acharya. Since you started on names, when I was born, I was barely cleaned up, and my father whispered into my ear that your name is Carol. I was so speechless, I didn't speak for a year. And I'm sure you would have been more than 32. Instead of those 8 or 10 word names, you'd have had only 4, gone with the wind. But yeah, Dr. Acharya, Mr. William Gans, members of the working committee, parents, guests, staff, and my dear students. It's a big day for us, our first ever investiture ceremony, our first grade 10 batch, going to graduate in 2023. It's a big day for us because it's our test too, as we take 19 kids, 19 young children, and make leaders of them, and help them inspire many more leaders. Congratulations to all of you at the back. You're fine young boys and girls. You have qualities of head and heart that have made you eligible for this honor. Junior prefects, you were nominated by all the staff who know you. Ditto for grade prefects of grades 6 to 8. You're also chosen by all the staff who know you, and they have known you for a while. And for the 8 members of the 8 senior students of the Student Council, your candidature was endorsed by not just the staff, but by the entire student body of grade 6 upwards. Everyone has spoken clearly, categorically, and that's why you're here. So if you have any qualms, if you have any misgivings, know that so many people could not be wrong. Thank you for accepting the nomination. Your first step was in preparing us in just doing the right things. And that's why your name was called up, because you, in a sense, you had a proven track record. We didn't go on hope. We went by what had been seen. And then when you accepted the nomination, that was itself validation, the first validation that here's a child, here's a student who's willing, who's ready to stretch himself or herself, to press toward the mark, to reach forward and onward and upward, to test your own capacity. It can only get better from there. Yes, you're going to make your mistakes. But we'll come to that later. Right now, bask. Allow yourselves to bask in that glory. When you leave the auditorium, the roles and responsibilities will kick in. After all, it does get a bit lonely at the top. The crown does print. I explained that it wouldn't be otherwise. You have been elevated and separated. That's the first thing you remember. You're first among equals. It's not that you're a breed apart. I'm sure there must be people probably as talented as you, but never stressed themselves. Never shown their mettle. We went by what we saw, but I'm sure as you inspire, people will then come out of their shell and do things. But back to what I said, you have been elevated and separated from the rest. And you must remember that. You can't go back to the same old ways. Whenever you accept new roles and responsibilities, life changes to a certain extent. You can be a people's person. You are expected to be a people's person. After all, you're going to lead the student body, and many of them are not here today. Grades nursery to grade 3 are not here today, and others are not here today. But you're going to lead them, and you cannot lead them if you're not with them, if you're not alongside them. But you're also many a time standing in front, ahead of them. You can't be with them all the time. When you lead from the front, you often are alone while the rest are watching, and then taking the cue from you. So do remember that. Take your role seriously, Dr. Acharya said. In years to come, use these years that you are here with us. The advantages, you're starting young, you've got years ahead of you before you reach grade 12, and then step into the world. So you and many others here in the audience have many years in which you can develop yourselves. You're not alone. The year 1805, 21st October, the English Admiral, Lord Nelson, with 27 ships, was facing the combined French and Spanish navies at the Battle of Trafalgar. They had 33 ships. Just before the battle started, Lord Nelson said, "I want a signal flashed." In those days they used flags, signals. And he said, the signal that was flashed was, "England expects that every man will do his duty." England expects that every man will do his duty. A great roar, it was reported that a great roar went up from Nelson's fleet. It was a decisive victory. Those lines have become immortal. Today, the Gera school expects that every boy and girl will do his or her duty. It is part of your oath. May you do your duty, as the oath will say, without fear of favor, the glory of your school, and the true benefit of your fellow students. And as Dr. Acharya rightly said, you first do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself to be the best that you can be. Don't let yourself down before you let anyone else down. Don't let yourself down. I said you're not alone. Let's go to the staff who have nominated you. And now I speak to all members of staff, academic, admin, everybody, principal downward. We have nominated them. The primary responsibility then is ours, to make sure that these children don't fail. We do our best to make sure that they don't fail. We work towards success. We do whatever is possible, and we know they will fall. And it's okay if they will fall, as long as they don't make grievous mistakes. As long as they make the simple ones, we try and make sure that they don't make serious mistakes, because we're there to help them. We inspire them with our own example first. If we don't lead ourselves, if we're not passionate about what we do, if we don't look to see that I will only work only in exchange for whatever I get in return, monetarily or otherwise, if I'm not passionate about my own leadership, leading myself and leading others, they will not take the cue from us. It's only when we love our own leadership journey will we then be able to learn to be with them and partner with them. And so I urge all of us here to help our students be the very best that they can be and self-actualize. But the primary responsibility may be ours, but my dear parents, that primary responsibility is not ours alone. As a parent myself, I know that when a child reaches home, in no time I can undo everything that has been done in school. If a parent is at odds with the school, works at odds with the school, everything can be undone very fast. So, school, student, and teacher. School, student, and parent work together to make for the benefit of the student. And so it is now our responsibility, all the adults in this room and outside there, to make sure that they be the best. Michelangelo was chipping away at a big block. The great sculptor and painter was chipping away at a big block of marble. And the person who greeted him said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm trying to release the angel that is imprisoned in this marble." Now, as we work with these young student leaders, what goodness, what greatness, what near divinity are we going to help release from them? A lot may depend on them. I think a lot more would depend on teachers and parents and all elders who are part of their lives. I wish the Student Council the very best on behalf of the management, staff and students, and on my own behalf. But before I end, a word for those who are not receiving badges today. Perhaps you wanted to, but didn't make it for some reason or the other. All is not lost. There's this whole year where you can show that you have potential. We're a small school, but we're a growing school. And there'll be many opportunities. And so help us God. If you show that initiative, if you show the ability, we would be there with you to develop it. After all, our motto is to learn and lead with passion. For those who wanted to but don't quite believe in themselves, may you then be inspired by these. Like I said 2 days ago, when you heard members for voices, and I said, copy them first. So you learn to first be a Zara, a Lucius, a Keith, an Alithia, a Megan. First you learn to be them by emulating them, and then you be yourself. The first step is to copy so that you know, hey, I can do it. She did it, he did it, I did it. Once you've done it, you say, I can do it. Now you look to be yourself. Now don't look to be anybody else. Now it's not about being an Omkar. It's about being you. So all you out there, you see them, be inspired by them, and if possible, go beyond. For those who don't, the last one who may say, I'm not interested. That's not being fair to you. Please be interested, because life will demand leadership from you. Like it or lump it. You will be called upon to lead, no matter how small a group of leaders. If nothing else, you'll be called upon to lead yourself. So all those qualities that you may see up there, respect, empathy, there's honesty, integrity, courage, integrity, inspiration, they will be demanded of you if you're to do anything worthwhile in this life of yours. So you will be called upon to be a leader. So please take your leadership journey seriously. And one day when you take your place in the sun, I hope you trace that journey backwards to school. Once again, Dr. Chaya, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much, parents and guests. I wish all our Student Council members, once again, the very best. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, sir, for those wonderful words of wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, the investiture ceremony begins. Before they receive their badges and then take their oath, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, please refrain from clapping or cheering as this is a solemn occasion. Once all the students get their badges and take their oath, we will give them a united round of applause. The school appointments are now requested to move forward as per the order called. May I call upon the primary coordinator, Ms. Suparna Das, to pin the badges for the junior prefects. Sophia Buhariwala. Maya Alvarez. Jeremiah D'Souza. Arush Madwalkar. Kiara Junjunwala.
Jeremiah.
May I call upon the middle school and IGCSE coordinator, Ms. Deirdre Gokhale, to pin the badges for the grade prefects for grades 6 to 8. Grade 6, Vriddhi Rajani. Vaishnavi Vedant. Grade 7, Hannah Wallace. Stefano Alvarez. Grade 8, Megan Poe. Zara Bajaj. We will now invest the house captains. We will go in alphabetical order of the houses. May I call upon the house coordinators, Ms. Cheryl Pinto and Ms. Natania da Costa Lopez, to do the honors for Omkar Rani and Elena Shinde, respectively. Hercules House, Omkar Rani. Pegasus House, Elena Shinde. May I call upon the house coordinators, Mr. Jurish Nath and Ms. Shabina Sheikh, to do the honors for Keith Alemao and Parisha Ahuja. Phoenix House, Keith Alemao. Polaris House, Parisha Ahuja. I request Kabir Gadre and Natalie Morera to step forward. I now request our principal, Mr. Joseph, to please come on stage. School editor, Natalie Morera. Activities Captain Kabir Gadre. I request Lucius D. Almeida and Mantra Tengse to step forward. Head boy, Lucius D. Almeida. Head girl, Mantra Tengse. We request our principal to hand over the school flag to Lucius and Mantra. The Student Council will now be administered the oath.
We, the members of the Student Council, promise to fulfill our duties to the best of our ability, without fear or favor, for the glory of our school and the true benefit of our fellow students.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, please put your hands together for our Student Council. We now request our head boy, Lucius D. Almeida, followed by our head girl, Mantra Tengse, to share their thoughts with this august gathering on this occasion.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chief Guest, respected Principal, coordinators, teachers, and my fellow students. My name is Lucius D. Almeida, and I am humbled by this opportunity to be head boy of the Gera School. Thank you for your faith, belief, and trust in the Student Council and me. Standing up here is more pressure than I could have ever imagined. And I have learned that head boy is not just a title, but a responsibility. This is the time for us to deliver. This is the time for us to commit. And yes, there are responsibilities coming up this year, but it is up to us to overcome them. And you can count on me to lead. I will always do my best and act within my scope as head boy to get everything right and do what the Student Council believes is best. As head boy, I strive to run the Student Council with this motto in mind: equity and grace. Equity appeals to the school's vision of a nurturing individuality and will be our driving reason to give the student body what they need. Grace adheres to our school's mission and vision of being self-directed and self-confident, and will make all of you feel happy as students of the Gera school. I also want to address some of the possible ideas I made in my election speech on the 18th of April. I know most of you are excited for these, and the Student Council will work around the clock and try our best to materialize these events, ideas, and activities throughout the year in agreement with the school administration. As I come to the end of my speech, I would like to express my gratitude towards everyone who supported us, and most importantly, the principal, staff, and students for choosing us to be the Student Council of our school. We will try to never let you down. No words can express the surprise, pleasure, and honor in being head boy. And as I said before, and will say once again, we want to give back. Let's make this the best year TGS has had.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Manta Tengse, and I stand here as the head girl of the Gera school. Firstly, I would like to start my speech by thanking everyone who made it possible for me to be here today. The principal, coordinators, staff, and student body for believing in me, and the Student Council. I have immense gratitude to all those who made it possible for me to be standing here today. I will utilize this opportunity to its maximum and do my best in coordinating with people and doing what's best for the school. I would also like to congratulate the rest of the Student Council as well as the grade prefects for being inaugurated today. Being a head girl is taking on a leadership role where you have a set of responsibilities and goals. I'm so grateful to have this role and learn from it every day. For everyone who was here for my election speech, I ended with a quote: "The purpose of a leader is not to make more followers, but more leaders." And I really believe that this is true. I hope that everyone takes inspiration from this quote, regardless of what leadership role you would like to partake. Thank you.
I now request our middle school and IGCSE coordinator, Ms. Deirdre Gokhale, to propose the vote of thanks.
Congratulations once again to the Student Council. We look forward to an enriched year with all of you. Before we leave today, I want to thank all those gathered here for your warm presence. It only affirms your unstinting support for the Gera International School. Thank you to our chief guest, Dr. Abhimanyu Acharya, for your presence. Deeply humbled and honored, and we all listened to your detailed advice to our students, and we will all remember it for years to come. Thank you to our principal, Mr. Joseph, for everything that you do. You stood with the entire team daily till this day, making sure that everything fell in place and left no stone unturned. Thank you, sir. Thank you to Mr. William Gans for your presence. Thank you to all our coordinators for their support to make every event successful. Thank you to the admin team for your technical support, Mr. Sudesh, Mr. Jonathan, Ms. Faye, Rahul, and all the DDs and buyers, and all supporting staff. Thank you, Mr. Amit Madvalkar, for training the students. Thank you, Ms. Lizelle Montes, an excellent MC and coordinating all the students for the event. Thank you, Ms. Jessica, lead communications, for the decor of the entire auditorium that you see here today. Thank you for the entire designing team, Ms. Clacia, and entire team of designers for looking into all the logos. Ms. Sophia, Ms. Malvika, Ms. Michelle, and Ms. Joanne. Thank you, Ms. Aditi, Ms. Christabel, Ms. Clacia, Ms. Malvika, and Ms. Natanya for that lovely song. And thank you, Tara Gadre, for that wonderful performance, A Million Dreams. Thank you, Ms. Delilah, for managing backstage. Thank you to Ms. Nikita and Ms. Sukanya for your support. Thank you, all great teachers, all subject teachers, all specialists, for your unwavering cooperation in managing the children at all times. Thank you, students, sound and back-end team, ushers and stage decor. Would like to end with a few lines from Robert Frost's poem, "The woods are lonely, dark and deep, and I have promises to go and miles to go before I sleep." Thank you so much.
May I now request the audience to rise for the singing of the Indian National Anthem. We request the audience to join us in the cafeteria for refreshments. Thank you. Have a lovely day.